Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Actually, good morning as well to those of you joining us from the West Coast. And welcome to this CartoVista webinar. My name is Sylvain Saint-Germain. I'll be your host today for this first webinar from our Geomarketing Secrets series, creating composite variable scoring with CartoVista. So it's with great pleasure that we will have this first session with you today. And before we dive into the details, I'd like to introduce you to my colleague, Alexa Gartin, who's going to walk us through the user experience. Good afternoon, Alexa. How are you today?
Hello, Sylvain. I'm doing great. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you very much. So as I said, before we dive in, maybe share a few words about you and why not your role at CartoVista?
Of course. As Sylvain mentioned, my name is Alexa. I am the GIS sales manager at CartoVista. I've been working with them for about 3 years, and I've been working for the GIS industry for about 10 years now. And if there's one term that we're all familiar with in the geomarketing sense, it's location, location, location. And what better way to present and interpret your geographic data than with an online tool like CartoVista? CartoVista has rich interactive tools and cutting-edge design that allows you to build customer profiles, look at demographic data, and analyze tables and charts. Today, we'll be highlighting the composite variable scoring, which is a big hit with our geomarketing companies that work with us. So first, Sylvain will take us through our schedule for today, and we'll get into our presentation after.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alexa. So very simply, this session is going to be short and sweet, about 30 minutes. So the presentation from Alexa should last for about 15 minutes or so. We have a quick poll to send your way. We'd like to make sure we understand your challenges, know you a little better. We love to do that. And we're going to share with you the information you need if ever you're ready to dive in and explore the CartoVista platform as a whole, or more specifically, the composite variable scoring stuff. So that's going to be quick as well. And we will wrap up with a quick Q&A period, about 10 minutes. So if all goes well, in about half an hour, we'll be back to our regular plan. So let's go ahead, Alexa. Off to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sylvain. So you all should see my screen now.
Yes.
Perfect. So what we're looking at right now is the CartoVista portal. This is our online gallery of our maps. This is where our maps will be published to. So we're going to be taking a look at maps that are already published for today's examples. First off, we've got our information on our map that we'll be looking at. Our first example is set in the city of Chicago. We'll be looking at some municipal demographic data at the block group level, where we could be creating some profiles to potentially create a new store within the city. First off, we do need to make sure that we have our scoring analysis activated. So this is done through our portal through the permission settings. You can see we've got our composite variable scoring turned on, and we also have the ability to add access and modification permissions at the map level and also at the scoring analysis level. So if you wanted to share your map without the scoring analysis access for people, you can always modify your permissions through this window here. So let's dive right into our map. As I said, we're going to be looking at some demographic data within the city of Chicago. Today for our sample, we want to be potentially opening up a new store for women, a clothing store. And we're looking at business women who might be educated, a little bit higher of an income because it is going to be a little bit higher fashion. So as you can see, we've got all our demographic block group data here. We've got a couple stores that are our competitors and some building locations, which we'll get into a little later. For now, let's take a look at what we have access to in this map right now. As I mentioned, we do have our block groups, and you do have access to look at that information in multiple ways. If I were to click on one of these block groups, we will see an info window that pops up with some information on the side, as well as we do have a data table that we can actually explore and take a look at before diving into our composite variable scoring. We do want to get a little bit familiar with the data that we're going to be working with. So as you can see, we've got our table here at the bottom with our headers of information. The table is interactive in the sense that if I wanted to sort and filter, I can do so just by clicking the header. You can add filters if you'd like through here. If I wanted to find, a value that is greater than 1,000, I can set that filter and the table will automatically update based off of my filter. I'm going to clear that for now. If I wanted to select and look at just a few block groups, I can do so by clicking a select within the map. I've got my select tool here from the toolbar, and I can select a few records here. And you can see my data table at the bottom is now populating with the records that I've selected. If I wanted to take a look at the statistics of this table, I can always do so by hitting the statistics button here in the corner. Now, I do see that I have my women, but I want to compare it to the population that is male as well. So I can always add another field by just hitting the gear, and I can see all my fields that I have access to. I can now add in men if I wanted to. That's great. We'll click OK. And now I can compare the sum of population of these block groups to each other if I wanted. I'm just going to go back and clear my selection. So let's get a little bit into our composite variable scoring. Over here, it's on the window in the right. It was just closed so that we can take a look at our data. And here is where we're going to be building our analysis. I can create a new analysis, and also we can see that I have some that are already created. We have a already created variable here of middle-aged men. You can see my table updates based off of scoring. For the purpose of this sample, I am going to be creating a new composite variable scoring so that you can see how it works in CartoVista. Now, if I just need to exit this, go back, and we're going to create a new analysis. Now I'm going to be basing my analysis, of course, off of our demographic data, so I will select that layer. We can give this a new name as we want this to be, this is going to be a women's clothing store location. And we'll hit next, and this is when we can start adding some variables. Now, if I know I want to select women, so I will choose women, and we want the influence on the scoring analysis to be positive. You do have other options as inverse, which is a negative impact, and also you can set your own specific target values. So we'll add this and see how our map updates based off of that one single piece of demographic data. Just to give you a sense of how it works in the negative, we can hit inverse and the map will update to show us what it looks like when it has a negative impact. We'll go back to positive and we'll start adding some new variables. As I mentioned earlier, we want to hit a little bit more of an older generation, somebody who is educated and has money. So we're going to pick the ages range between 40 and up. If you have a variable that is within the same category, you can join them together as I did here for age, and we want it to also have a positive impact, so we'll add that variable. Up next, we will add another new variable, and I'm going to select median income because we do want higher paying women. We'll add that variable. And finally, we will add the educational status. So we want people who maybe have a bachelor's degree and up. So here we go, all of these working in a positive sense. Now, we do want to alter our weight for each of these variables. It's important that they're women, of course, that's who I'm targeting. So I'm going to raise this number from 25% and up. As you can tell, it automatically distributes. You know, we've got 100%, and since we have 4 variables divided by 4, each of them get distributed as 25%. This is the automation. However, if you unclick automatic, and we can alter that, I'm going to raise that to 33%. For the rest, they automatically update and evenly distribute amongst themselves. I consider the median income to be the other largest influencing factor for this store, so I'm going to update my median income as well. I will update the percentage to 33, and if we want to take a look at the more options, we can actually change our range. So right now we're capturing people who don't make any money, who don't have an income. And in this case, I want to only target women who are making more than, let's say, $60,000 a year. So I can simply just enter 60,000, and this will automatically update my bar here and my map as well. All right, so I am done setting up my variables. I am happy with the weighted values and ranges that I've selected. So now let's go take a look at our map and where our population is most central. So we can see that within the city center, we do have a greater population, especially of women. That we're looking to target. I'm going to update my ranges here as I see that my top 2 are empty, and you know, we've got 10 ranges, and maybe I want to diminish that a little to capture a little more in my top 5, or let's say 3. So I'm going to change ranges to 5. I will update this to equal ranges. You can always customize and set your calculation types. You can even set your ranges to be custom if you would prefer. Everything is customizable based on your needs. So now we can see we've got 2 top tier ranges. If I wanted to take a look at these ranges, I can actually look at the selection within my table just by hitting the legend here. So now we see we have 6 records of that high to medium range. We can choose to sort and take a look at our data and really understand where our potential new store might be. An additional really useful tool is looking at using thematics to evaluate our data. So if we take a look in this centralized corner here where we see we've got a lot of potential for a new store, we also have buildings that we know are up for lease. So we can do a compare and analysis of where there might be an empty building where I can open a commercial location. This is a very handy tool if you were interested in creating a spatial intersection with your ranges to your points. You are able to do that, and I will show you that in our next example, where we're going to go into another map that is located in Alabama. Now in Alabama, we're going to be looking for a different type of demographic, and our analysis is already ready here for us. We're going to be looking at males who are potential buyers of recreational vehicles. Now we know that based off of our market research and analysis, we know that males are more likely to purchase recreational vehicles, so they're going to be our target audience. Here we've got a few analysis, and we'll show you what it looks like to go through some of them. Now, in this case, we are looking at educated males who have an income between greater than 100,000, or I guess 75,000, and they all have a positive influence on our weighting. We can see that our populations are really centralized into these city locations, but this is not exactly the targeted audience that I'm looking for. I'm not really looking for the educated higher income. I've determined from my market research that it's actually simply white middle-aged males who are most likely to purchase. So I have a little bit of a bigger audience here rather than having many more variables. I have a select few that I want to work with, and it kind of broadens my scope a little bit. So we're going to take a look at down here, Mobile, Alabama. We've got a couple records where we're showing some promise for our recreational vehicle location. We want to open a potential new dealership, and based off of our variable scoring analysis, we see we've got some potential in this city. We can also see we've got existing competitors. And we also have one of our own dealerships, which is close by. But we understand that there's a bigger market out here. We know that sales are occurring in this area, so we want to do a deeper analysis of where and we can create a new dealership, as well as understanding what the sales potential within this area is. We're going to do this by creating some drive time isochrones, understanding how far people are from this new potential location and what the sales opportunities are. So if I zoom in a little more, I'm going to just close my composite variable scoring here on the side, so we've got more room to explore our map. And I'm going to hit this isochrone tool up here. What the isochrone tool does is, if I decide I want to open a store, let's say right in this location, it's between two competitor dealers, it's close to my potential markets, so I'm going to just click the button on where I might open a dealership, and we can create some isochrones. So in here we can determine our time. We've got 30 minutes, let's say 45 minutes, and a 60-minute drive from my dealership to anywhere around. So we want to consider traffic. You can select your departure time. So if you wanted to really specify a time of day, you can do so. We can also change color ranges of what the isochrones are going to look like. And let's see what the results are. So here are our isochrones. If I hover over the 30 minutes here, we've got 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and 60 minutes. So I can see that some of my locations or competitors are falling within the isochrones. Now we're going to create a spatial intersection so that we can gather some sales information. I know that attached to my competitors, we do have some sales information. You can see this now in the pop-up. We've got a total count of sales, and I want to know within my drive time analysis, how many sales are there currently for my competitors, and this can determine what my market potential might be. So let's go to the selection tool where I want to select competitors, and I'm going to create a spatial intersection with my isochrone. And all I need to do is simply just go and select my isochrone. Sorry, I clicked the wrong one. And here we go. And there we go. So within my 30-minute drive, I've got two competitors where I can see their sales. And remember, if I hit these statistics, I can also see the total number of sales if I wanted to analyze all of the tables. From this data table, you are also capable of downloading all your information. You can export into an Excel document. You can select only your selected columns or all columns. Everything is downloadable from here. You can even copy and paste. So let's go back, and I want to see what my real market potential is for the entire isochrone here for a 60-minute drive. If I were to do that intersection again, all I need to do is now hit the larger isochrone. So now within a 60-minute drive, I know that there are currently 189 sales, and this is good. I know that I've got a demographic here that matches my customers, And I know that there's already a sales potential within a reasonable drive time from my dealership. So perhaps if somebody can't find what they're looking for somewhere else, they can have access to my dealership. And all of this proves that data and our composite variable scoring and our tools are all very useful when determining some market analysis. So that's it for my presentation today. I look forward to speaking with any of you on your project-specific needs in the future. And Sylvain, I'll send it back to you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Alexa. So we can clearly see that there's a lot of potential with when an industry is sharing industry data to itself, I guess, to its members, where once an organization knows their market share, they can easily estimate their potential revenue. So this is a tool that is in use significantly by our clients for analyzing that very specific theme. So next in our session is the poll. So I will just turn this on so that you can see the question. Will give us maybe a minute or so to answer this. So I'll just get back to you right after. Answers are coming in. Thank you very much. We'll give you a few more seconds, maybe. Okay, I think we have it. So I will terminate the poll in a couple seconds. Right now, I'll share the results with you all. Awesome. So if all goes well, you're seeing the results of the poll. So first question, looks like most of our attendees are GIS competent, definitely. 86% of you are using GIS. So this is good to hear. Thanks for being with us, actually. Maybe you know CartoVista already, maybe not. So either way, this is good to have you. Second question, how do you determine your market potential? So, okay, so it's a little bit evenly spread here. I like to read that some of you or half of you are doing it yourself. So somehow you have some strategy. A third of you is also looking into outsourcing this to others. Maybe the good news for a third of the crowd as well is that, or about a third, is that you're not doing this. So of course, if ever you are caring about, market potential, which seems possible here, looks like maybe you're having a place to look for a solution with us. Next question. Elaborate here with numbers of answers. So what are your current geomarketing challenges? Alexa, is there something that comes that pops right out here to you?
Yes, what pops out is that it seems like a lot of people are having a lot of geomarketing challenges across the board. Taking a look at our audience targeting, location targeting, competitor location. This is all geographic-based information, and CartoVista is really a tool and a solution that can help you locate your targets, create demographic and customer profiles based off of your data. And, a lot of data is actually easily accessible from the internet and from government census. So everything is really at your fingertips, and CartoVista is a tool that can really make use of everything for these purposes.
Absolutely. Question number 4, what process or resources do you use to set up a new location? So lots of you are using demographic data. This is nice, good to read. We believe this is definitely a tool that is useful. We're using it all the time, so our clients are appreciating this. So that's definitely valuable. Gut feel is also part of the equation. That's common. We hope that we bring together some of our guts in our decisions, but it's even better when we can confirm it or help it out a little bit with demographic data. So that's good. Any surprise for you here, Alexa?
No, I love that people are using their data and using geographic proximity commerce to understand their locations, their target audiences. CartoVista really pulls together data for you in a, we showed you in a fast, easy way. Everything, in terms of gut feeling, it's always good to have, but we do have the tools and resources for you to go beyond that gut feeling and to really prove that you are in the right direction.
Absolutely. So that concludes our short poll. So I will stop the sharing. And next is for those of you who are interested in giving this a try, it's pretty straightforward. You simply have to go to cartovista.com, and you'll notice on the top right, there's a request trial button. Simply hit the button, fill the form, and next thing you know is you're gonna receive communications from us that will provide you what you need to get started very quickly. What we like to do as well is get in touch with you, because generally in a few minutes we can get you started. For example, today we're starting from a point where the map exists and there's already data in the system. Of course, that's step 1. It was outside the scope of this presentation, but we like to have an opportunity to talk to you and see if we can help you out getting started. Of course, we're sharing our email address with you all. If there's if you would prefer to just proactively get in touch with us, not wait for us to get in touch with you, feel free to do so. That is something that we appreciate a lot. We're there to help, essentially. Now, the question and answers. Some have started to come in. Forgot to mention that you could have started from the beginning of the presentation. For those of you not used with Zoom too much, at the bottom you should see a Q&R section, so you can just send them our way. But I'll start right now. We have a few questions here. So Alexa, we have Danielle who's asking us if we provide professional service to help find relevant demographic survey data.
Yes, of course, we are always open to helping you find your data. If you don't already know where to source it or you don't have it on hand, we were always there to guide and help you in the right direction to finding the data that will best support your needs.
Absolutely. Another question, what data is available for Canada? Lots of data is available for Canada. For those of you who are Canadian, I'm sure you filled the census in the last few months. We'll be happy in 2022 to get the new picture of the country. But I mean, for those of you not too familiar with this, from a data perspective, there's thousands of fields. Maybe Alexa, you know the actual number of pieces of information in the census? I don't.
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I'm sure there's thousands of pieces of information that we can gather, especially in Canada. We've got a pretty transparent, data acquisition and providing. This isn't the case, obviously, for all other countries. So depending on where you are, the data that you need, it is specific to yourself. So we aren't necessarily a data providing company. We are a software company. We can help you determine and find where we can get data for yourself. A lot of information we might actually already have, so it is dependent on your use case. We do have a great library, so it really depends. We will have to have the conversation of what you need and where you're located and what type of information you're interested in.
Absolutely. Another question here is, what is the limit on the number of variables that can be used?
Right. So in a sense, there is not really a limit of the variables that you can add in creating your composite variable scoring. However, when you do start to add too many variables, if you're familiar with creating a weighted system, it starts to get lost in the data the more that you add. So it is good to be specific and target a audience and know exactly what you're looking for in creating a weighted system. So the less, the better, but you can always add as much as you want.
Yeah, that's right. At one point, it becomes ridiculous to have a 5% on 20 variables potentially. Another question, the demographic data is available in all countries. I don't know how it works in all countries, but I know that in the USA, it's fairly easy to access. Canada, France, these are places we're familiar with. Maybe Alexa, you're aware of other places where it's easy to get to?
Right. It is dependent on where it is, depending on the government, what they want to provide as an open source. Like I said previously, it is very dependent on the use case and what it is exactly that you're looking for. In some cases, if you're looking for something a little bit more specific in terms of industry data, or something that's not readily available as open source, there could be additional costs for acquiring certain data.
That's right. Another question, how do you add your own data to the maps?
Of course. So the portal that I showed you earlier where we were seeing our two maps, there was a map gallery. There is also a data gallery where it's just as simple as clicking a button and you can load in your shapefiles, your map info tables. All your geographic data can be loaded. You can even add in tabular data and create a georeference based off of if you have long information. You're all able to load your data up onto the portal and then connect it to your publisher.
Exactly. One last question, maybe, unless there's more coming up. I believe this is the last one I have here. So can we create analysis on other objects than polygons? Answer is yes, right?
Yes, you can create an analysis if you want on your points, on your lines. We choose polygons, especially for when we're looking at demographic data, since demography is usually broken down to a block group system, for example, in the States, or if we're looking at Canada, we've got several different geographic boundaries that our population and demographic data is connected to. You can select Of course, you can select, points if you want, if you've got information that is attributed to a single point, for example, your stores, or perhaps, a specific, sports recreational points and locations, and you have information attached to it that way, you can always create a scoring analysis based off of another, geography type.
Absolutely. Last question, I think, just came in. Does CartoVista work on smartphones or tablets? It does, absolutely. CartoVista is created in HTML5, so it allows us to easily work on all devices. So no issue there. So that's a good news. Mobility is part of our lives, definitely more and more. So I think that concludes the session for today. On behalf of Alexa and myself, thanks for having been with us today. It was a pleasure to have you. We hope this was informative, that you appreciated it. And we look forward to have you with us the next time. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.